Hi, this is a conversation about cultural intelligence, and in this video in particular, it will be a conversation about cultural intelligence strategy. So remember that cultural intelligence is a malleable, measurable trait. So you can measure it, there's a test for it, you can identify your competency or your ability, your current ability along four competencies: cultural intelligence drive, CQ knowledge, CQ strategy, and CQ action. So this competency, this intelligence is comprised of these four competencies. And the intelligence is malleable. You can develop your drive, you can develop your knowledge, your strategy, your action. You can develop your cultural intelligence and actually get culturally smarter. And recall also that this particular intelligence is rapidly becoming the most important intelligence, the most important ability or measurement or predictor of your success in a rapidly globalizing world. So let's talk about what cultural intelligence strategy is and then talk about how to get better at it. When we talk about strategy, what we're talking about is your propensity, likelihood, or ability to take what you know about a culture and then plan to change what you would do. We're talking about my likelihood to take what I know about the culture that I live in and to pre-plan some ways that I'm going to approach a conversation with my boss, or think about how I'm going to inhabit a particular job interview, how I'm going to walk into the interview, what I'm going to say, what I'm going to not, what I'm going to leave unsaid, what I'm going to try to communicate non-verbally, what I'm going to try to communicate before or after the interview through other people instead of through me. What might go in a cover letter here, given its different place than a cover letter in the States. What we're talking about is strategy. It's making a plan based on the information that I have. So when we talk about strategy, we're talking about it in three steps. So first, be aware. Be aware of you. Be aware of your predispositions. Be aware of your strengths. Be aware that you can leverage your strengths across cultures if you think carefully about it and make a good plan. Be aware also of the other. The other doesn't just mean the other culture, but it's the other actual person in the interaction, or persons in the interaction that you're going to have. Be aware of how they're going to see things. There's a certain kind of dress code for teachers, and it doesn't matter school by school. There's a role that teachers occupy in this culture. The word for sir is actually teacher. So when I go to work and at the school that I work with, some of the time, I got to be careful how I dress. I can't allow myself to get irritated by that. I can't look at the situation and say, man, it's what inside that counts. What's inside is what's important. My knowledge or my capacity to transfer knowledge or competency, or to facilitate or activate, catalyze learning, that's what's really important, and they need to look past whether or not I'm wearing a tie. If I consider the other, I need to think about how they view my wearing or not wearing of the tie. How much do I value the information how much do I value them based on whether or not I wore the tie? You follow? Being aware both of myself, my predisposition to hate focus on externals, and their predisposition to use externals to convey the relative importance of a conversation. These two things aren't the same, and if I'm unaware of what's happening in me, or if I'm making assumptions about what should be happening in them, should be, instead of what is, that lack of awareness is going to make for a really bad plan. So then you plan. You think about you, and you think about the other or the others, and you make a plan. You take the knowledge that you have about the culture that you're operating in, and you take the knowledge that you have about you and about the communication event that you're anticipating, and you think about, okay, this is a high power distance culture. It's male dominated. And it's high context, and communal. Okay, so I know these things, and I'm walking in to negotiate the pay and the number of hours that I'm going to give to this school. So I know in my head that I actually have about 20 hours I could give, right? But I also know in my head how much they're willing to pay, and they're probably not willing to pay my rate for 20 hours. Okay, the boss that I'm going to be negotiating with isn't the boss. However, I met the boss yesterday, and he liked me, and I could tell that he liked me through all of his kinesics and the way that he talked, and that I was mentioned by him in another conversation with someone else. So I already know that I've got the blessing, right, from the boss. So I know that my counterpart in this conversation is my direct boss, who is kind of second in command, is a woman in her mid-50s. So she is feeling the power distance between her and her boss, who is a man and above her, and she's also feeling her power distance toward me. But underneath that, there's this other stream of I'm a man, and most of her staff are women, but I'm a man. So how I need to be asking myself, how will she be feeling uncomfortable in the power distance that she's got, but the gender disparity that she's also feeling? Okay, and then this is a communal culture, so it's all about being a team. It's all about being us, and so the team's success or failure, mostly failure, belongs to everyone. It's everyone's problem, but it always comes back to the leader. The success or the failure comes back to the leader. So she doesn't want to look bad, because looking bad that's economic coin here. So she doesn't want to look bad, and I need to demonstrate that I'm into the success of the group. That I want to be one of the group. I don't want to be an independent contractor, comes and teach my classes and leaves, because there's no category for a good person doing that. A good person would be a team player. Okay, so I got to be a team player. Being a team player means that when they ask me for extra that they're not paying me for, I need to say yes. So if I have 20 hours, what I need to do is I need to negotiate for 15 hours of work, knowing that occasionally they're going to ask for something else. And I want to be able to say yes. Okay. It's high power distance though, so she needs to win the conversation. So I need to be prepared to walk in and ask for a certain amount of money. And here's my basement that I don't say, that I won't go lower than this. But let her win a negotiation where I get in here somewhere, right? I need to not be the last word. She needs to offer, or I need to be able to say, okay, I appreciate that you don't want to do that. Could you do this? And she could say, yes, we could do that. Now she has the power again. So it's high power. I just want to make sure she wins the conversation. It's a communal culture. I want to make sure that I demonstrate I'm a team player. I want to be part of the us. And it's high context. So half of the stuff that gets said, I need to say with body language and like, oh, could you teach a class? Yeah, I could teach a class. Yeah, I could teach. I've really found that my best contributions too are when I'm actually coaching teachers. Right? So I said yes, but I meant no. And she heard no because of the way I said yes, right? High context, low context. So I make a plan, and then I execute it. I do all the things, but then I reflect. If you just execute and then go on about your life, you're going to walk around feeling like you're doing a great job or doing a bad job, but you're not right. You're not correct. It's not accurate. Your assessment of what's happening, of how you're engaging, of how intelligently you are engaging, can't be accurate if you don't reflect. And sometimes it's helpful to reflect with others, and maybe even other people who saw the interaction. How did that go? What did she hear? When she said that, I heard this. Is that what you heard? Reflecting on it in order to find the one or two, or maybe three, but usually it's better just pick one or two things that you can learn from this encounter, from this engagement, that increase your knowledge, make for better strategy, and predispose you to better action later. And that's what our next video is going to be about. Action.